Monday morning, March 23rd, 2026, Buddha Dhamma. We're reading chapter 18.6, Ways of Developing Concentration in Parts. It's a long chapter. Yesterday, we read the Part A, Part B, and we left off in B, in development of concentration in line with the paths to success. We already covered Chanta, which is enthusiasm, Virya, the energy, Sita, focused attention or reason analysis, and now we left off in investigation, Vimamsa. As we pick up Vimamsa on 18.6, 4, investigation Vimamsa from page 1839 to 1849. Investigation. The application of wisdom, contemplation, reasoning, and reflection in examination of imbalances, shortcomings, or defects of one's actions, and ability to experiment to search for ways to adjust and to improve oneself. Here, wisdom guides concentration. Inquisitive people like to analyze and try things out. Their examinations are of this nature. What is the cause for this result? Why have things happened in this way? This factor has produced this result. If we remove this factor, the result will differ. If we add this other factor, instead of things should unfold in this way. If they don't happen as planned, why is this so? How can we adjust this? In the law of Dharma, in Dharma practice, you see, they reflect in the following manner. What is the meaning and the purpose of the spiritual quality? On which occasion should it be applied? How is it connected to other qualities? My spiritual practice is not progressing. Which spiritual faculties are too weak and which in excess? People in today's age live under these conditions. Which spiritual qualities are they lacking? How can I instill these qualities in them? What aspects of these qualities should I emphasize? Such analysis and examination helps to compose the mind, which constantly keeps close track of the matter at task. This leads to concentration. In Pali language, we call it samadhi, which is called concentration, arising from investigation, vimamsa samadhi. The mind is absorbed in that activity. It is strong. It does not wander or waver. This concentration is accompanied by supported effort, similar to the other factors leading to success. These four paths to success are mutually supportive and tend to rise in unison. You see, take the example, one may be very enthusiastic about something and be very energized. With such energy, the mind is focused and one pays close attention. There is then the opportunity for wisdom to be used for investigation. The separation of these four factors aim to highlight in different situations which factors is prominent, acting as a catalyst for others. Several people may be listening to a Dhamma talk. One person likes to study the law of Dharma and listens with delight to the truth. She wants to deepen her understanding of the Dhamma, or perhaps simply take pleasures in that particular talk where she likes the speaker and listen with one-pointed attention. Wholesome enthusiasm, chanta, is thus the prominent factor and induces concentration along with other virtues. Another person has a disposition or simply has a conviction in that moment that when facing a necessary task, one must fight and gain victory. One must confront the task and bring it to completion. He or she thus sees the subject matter of the talk as a challenge, as something that must be understood. In this case, effort, vidya, is the prevailing factor. Another person has the disposition of being attentive and responsible. Whatever he or she engages with, he or she responds and pays attention to. He or she is thus determined to follow the presentation of the talk. In this case, sita is the prominent factor. Ultimately, the fourth person wishes to examine whether the Dhamma being propounded is true or not, wholesome or not. He or she looks at the logic of the presentation. While listening, he or she investigates, and his mind or hers mind is one pointed on the subject of the talk. In this case, vimamsa is prominent. There are passages that refers to the four paths to success as the four governors. Atipati, or the four kinds of sovereignty, atipataya. They are described as the prominent or the leading factor in a specific circumstances. The gist of the developing concentration in line with the four paths to success is to take one's work, one's activity, or the desired goal as the object of attention, and then to muster enthusiasm, energy, focused attention, or investigation as its primary support foundation. This will give rise to strong concentration, which leads to both joy and success. In the Dhamma practice, an act of studying while performing other activities, when one wishes for concentration in order to accomplish the task, one should generate one of the four paths to success as leading spiritual factor. Concentration, contentment, and success in one's work can then be expected to arise naturally. Moreover, part of a person's meditation and spiritual practice will take place in the classroom, at home, in fields, at offices, or indeed everywhere. You see, when a teacher teaches a subject of study, makes a virtuous friend, Kalala Mitra, by helping the pupils see the value of this branch of knowledge and by revealing how this knowledge may be beneficial to their lives. Say, as the aid to finding work in the future, as a way to move ahead in life, or as profitable in some other way. Here, the teacher uses ambition as the mean for generating enthusiasm. Or better than that, the teacher points out the benefits for everyone, say as a way of helping all human beings. This is pure enthusiasm, until the pupils develop love for learning because they want to gain this knowledge. This is the way of rousing a wholesome enthusiasm, chanta. Alternatively, the teacher may speak of this knowledge as something which tests a person's awareness, discernment, and capability, stimulating an ardor for learning. She discusses the accomplishment of others, producing a fighting spirit in the pupils. This is a way of rousing energy, vidya. The teacher may stimulate a sense of responsibility in the pupils so that they see the connection and importance of this knowledge in their lives and to society as a whole, say by pointing out issues of danger and safety. In this way, although the students may not be particularly passionate about the subject of study, they will take it an interest and give their undivided attention. This is a way for rousing sita. The teacher may teach using methods of inquiry, experimentation, or reasoning, say by posing questions or conundrums, which requires the people to apply investigations. Thus, the people will study in a concentrated way. This is a method for applying vimamsa, investigation. It is even better if the teacher is able to recognize the disposition of an individual student and arouse specific factors leading to success with which is capable with his or her disposition. The teacher may arouse several factors simultaneously. At this time, students or anyone else engaged in work who is clever may apply reason analysis, yo niso manasikara, to rouse the path to success by themselves. On the subjects of success, we must consider the following passage given in the examples from the Tipitaka, the Pali Canon, defining the term iti. Iti as success. Iti means success, fulfillment, special accomplishment, gain, and succeed, to succeed well, to accomplish, to attain, to realize, to bring a specific quality to completion. Iti as spiritual power, psychic power, often iti patihariya. Monks. What is a spiritual power? Here, a monk in this Dhamma and discipline, the Vinaya, performs various kinds of supernormal power. Having been one, he becomes many. Having been many, he becomes one. He appears and vanishes. He goes unhindered through a wall, through a rampart, through a mountain, as if through space. He dives in and out of the earth as if it were water. He walks on water without sinking as it were earth. He flies through the air like a bird. In his hand he touches and strokes the sun and the moon. So powerful and mighty, he exercised mastery with his body, as even as far as the Brahma world. This is called spiritual power, iti. And what is the path to this spiritual power, iti pata? Whatever way, whatever practice leads to gaining spiritual power, to realizing spiritual power, this way and practice is called the path to spiritual power. What is the development of the path to spiritual power? Here, a monk, a bhikkhu, develops the path to spiritual power that consists of concentration due to the desire and volition formation of striving. The monk develops the path to spiritual power and consists of concentration due to energy, consists of concentration due to the focused attention, consists of concentration due to investigation and volitional formation of striving. This is called the development path to spiritual power. Monks. If a monk gains concentration, gains one-pointedness of mind based on enthusiasm, chanta, this is called concentration due to enthusiasm, chanta. He generates enthusiasm, makes effort, rouses energy, sustains attention, and establishes the mind for non-arising, unarisen, evil, unwholesome states. He generates enthusiasm for the abandoning of arisen, evil, unwholesome states. He generates enthusiasm for the arising of unarisen, wholesome states. He generates enthusiasm for the maintenance of arisen and wholesome states, for their non-decay, for their increase, expansion, and fulfillment by development. This is called volitional formation of striving, patana sankhara. This enthusiasm, chanta, and this concentration due to enthusiasm with these volitional formation are striving together, are referred to as the path to success, iti pata, endowed with concentration due to chanta, enthusiasm, combined with supportive effort, vidya. If a monk gains concentration, gains one-pointedness, ikata, of mind based on energy. This is called concentration due to energy, virya samadhi. This energy and this concentration due to energy and these volitional formations are striving together as referred to the path to success, endowed with concentration due to the energy combined with supportive effort. If a monk gains concentration, gains one-pointedness of mind based on focused attention, this is called concentration due to focused attention. This focused attention and this concentration due to focused attention. These volitional formations of striving together are referred to the path to success, endowed with concentration due to focused attention combined with a supportive effort. If a monk gains concentration, gains one-pointedness of mind based on investigation, this is called concentration due to investigation. This investigation and this concentration due to investigation. These volitional formations are striving together, are referred to the path to success, endowed with concentration due to investigation combined with supportive effort. And what is the way leading to the development of the path to spiritual power? It is this noble eightfold path, that is, right view, right concentration. This is the way leading to the development of the path to spiritual power. Monks, the four paths to spiritual power, when developed and cultivated, lead to going beyond what is not the shore, what is not the goal, to what is the shore. Standard development of concentration, meditation, guided by mindfulness. In many situations, you see, say a formal study or while working, it is possible to develop concentration by applying the four factors leading to success, iti pata. Progress or accomplishment in such work study is set as the goal of these four factors, irrespective of whether one applies the factor of protection, removal, development, or preservation. One generates and accompanies power of striving, patana sankhara, which propels one towards the goal and supports the establishment of concentration. However, in everyday life in which we experience passing sense impressions, we engage with things that are either impassive or existing independently on their own. It is nearly impossible to establish the four factors leading to success, and for these factors to operate. In such situations, the basic quality of mind required to prepare for one to or induce the arising of concentration and mindfulness, because mindfulness draws and holds attention to sense impressions, those things a person engages with, and those activities which must be performed. Mindfulness is the mind's refuge. Once mindfulness has been established to the suitable degree, wholesome enthusiasm follows automatically. There are two main methods for developing concentrations that rely primarily on mindfulness. One, to train mindfulness for wisdom, to aim for the benefits ensuing from wisdom practice, and to use mindfulness as a vanguard for wisdom, to coordinate mindfulness with wisdom by having mindfulness see specific sense impressions and submit them to wisdom for contemplation and understanding. In this method of practice, concentration is not emphasized, but is automatically developed as a byproduct. Moreover, this concentration makes the application of wisdom more fruitful. This method comprises the main part of the practice of the four foundations of mindfulness, satipatthana, which was described earlier in the section on right mindfulness. And it can be referred to as an everyday or universal meditation. Now the second part, 2, To train mindfulness in order to generate pure concentration. To give an exclusive emphasis on deep concentration, or to hold on to the sense object with mindfulness, so that the attention on the object is steady and undeviating. To fix attention on the object continuously. This method of practice gives direct emphasis to concentration, although the wisdom may sometimes simply know that which is being observed, but one does not intend to penetrate to the truth of the object or the matter of the object. This method is the essence of the systematic development of concentration discussed below. Systematic development of concentration. The systematic development of concentration here refer to meditation techniques that have been handed down in the Theravada Buddhist traditions, as recorded and explained in various commentarial texts, especially in the Path to Purity in the Visuddhimagga. These techniques are practiced by Dhamma practitioners, which earnestness and devotion by aiming exclusively at pure concentration within the confines of mundane levels of concentration attainments. They are set down and classified as gradual system of practice, beginning with primarily preliminary preparations, followed by specific techniques of meditation, progressive stages of training, and finally, specific results of practice inducing the concentration attainments, jhana samapatti, and the mundane higher psychic attainments, lokiya abhinya. This systematic development of concentration presented in the commentaries began with pure or faultless moral conduct, sila. From here, the main stages of the systems can be outlined as follows. First, to remove the 10 obstructions or causes for anxiety, palibodha. Second, to seek out virtuous friends, kalalamitra, a teacher who possesses suitable attributes for bestowing a meditation technique. Third, to take up the 40 meditation techniques suitable to one's disposition. Fourth, to go and to stay in a monastery, a quiet dwelling, or a place of practice suitable for meditation. To completely eliminate trifling worries and concerns. And fifth, to develop concentration, samadhi bhavana, to practice in accordance with this meditation technique. When presenting the details of these 5 main stages, the commentaries had monks in mind who make a serious, determined effort to practice meditation, perhaps for 4 months or years or more. Lay people, or those who only intend to practice for a short period of time, should select those aspects relevant to their circumstances. And eliminating the 10 impediments. The term palibodha refers to mental attainments or impediments, which cause anxiety and worry. This anxiety obstructs spiritual progress and makes it difficult for concentration to arise. Therefore, it should be dispelled. The Tipitaka mentions 10 kinds of palibodha. 1. Avasa, a dwelling or a monastery. One has accumulated many personal belongings, or one has unfinished businesses, which are the cause for worry. If one is not overly attached to these things, there is no problem. Kula, family. One's family or intimate relatives, or one's families of supporters. If one is separated from these people, one is concerned about them. One should come to terms with such separation and dispel the worry. Lapa, gain and acquisitions. One is worried, for example, one's many devoted and generous followers, and thus neglects and pursue one's Dhamma practice. In such a case, one should hold separate oneself from these people and seek solitude. Fourth, Ga na, a group. One is, for example, responsible for the group of disciples. One is preoccupied by teaching them and dispelling their doubts. In this case, one should attend to any unfinished responsibilities and find someone to act as a replacement and go off in one's own. Fifth, kama, work, especially building work. Nawa kama, one should complete these projects oneself or appoint someone else to do so. Six, atana, traveling, to travel long distances for business matters. Say, in order to ordain monks or novices, one should complete these affairs as so to be free from worry. Nati, relatives. Both blood relatives and relatives in the monastery, one's preceptor, teacher, and disciples. If these individuals are all ill, one ought to nurse them and try to resolve them to good health so that one is relieved of worry. Apata, illness. One is ill. One should hasten to find a cure, regain good health. If the illness appears to be incurable, one should muster an inner strength by thinking, I am not willing to be a slave to this illness. I am determined to maintain my spiritual practice. 9. Pariyiti gata, scriptures or formal studies. Scholarly subjects such as study is an obstacle for those who are anxious about securing knowledge, for example, through frequent recitation. If there is no anxiety, such study is not a problem. And 10, iti, psychic powers, which are burden for an unawakened person to protect. They are the obstacle for someone who is developing insight, not for someone who is developing concentration, and for whom such powers have not yet manifested. And finally, we have the end of part 2, seeking a virtuous friend. When one has removed these obstacles, there are no lingering concerns in the mind. One should seek out a competent meditating teacher who is endowed with virtuous qualities and devoted to helping others. Such a person is called Karala Mitra, a virtuous friend. He or she possesses the 7 qualities of a virtuous friend. First, endearing. Second, vulnerable. Third, inspiring. Fourth, a skillful speaker. Fifth, a patient listener. Sixth, able to describe profound subjects. Seventh, does not lead others to useless ends. Ideally, this virtuous friend should be the Gautama Buddha. It is not possible then for he or she to be an Arihat, an awakened being or a subordinate level, someone who has attained jhana, one who's memorized the Tipitaka, or someone who's a great in learning, respectively. The commentaries claims that occasionally an unawakened person of great learning is able to teach more effectively than an Arihat who is not of great learning. This is because such Arihats are only skilled of the way of practice that they themselves have passed through and can only describe their own unique path. Moreover, some Arihats are not skilled at teaching. Those people of great learning have done much research and have questioned many teachers. They are able to offer a comprehensive view of practice, are familiar with attentive methods of practice, and can make suggestions suitable to different levels. Of course, the optimum is to have an Arihat of great learning. When one has found a virtuous friend, one should approach him or her, perform the appropriate duties in relation to this person, and then ask for the opportunity to learn meditation. Now that's the end of 18.6 Ways of Developing Concentration, Part 2, from page 1839 to 1849. We will pick up in 18.6G, receiving a meditation technique suitable to one's disposition, on the next one. Buddha Dhamma